Yo, England player ratings for the 2-1 victory over Congo. Let's get straight into it. Pickford, I give him a 3. Let a goal in at his near post, even got a hand to it. Right now, we're being convinced by pundits that Pickford is England's greatest ever goalkeeper. So the standards are high, man. The bar's set high. Can't be letting in goals at your near post, and you can't be getting a hand to the ball and still allowing it to go in the back of the net. So yeah, I gave him a 3. Spence, I gave him a 4. Now, I don't agree with. I've seen recently a lot of pundits and whatnot, basically saying that like Spence had a terrible game. I don't believe that. I think Spence, along with Noni, they get scapegoated for a lot of criticism, like unnecessary criticism. Um, I think he had a decent game, but I gave him a 4 because he didn't have a great game. He didn't squash those conversations around the right back position, and being the only natural right back in the squad and getting that chance through to injuries to, cement his place to kind of squash those conversations. I was thinking, yeah, cool. He's getting a start. Now's your chance. Go and silence all the critics. And he didn't quite do that. But he had a steady game. He worked hard. He was up and down. He was energetic. He gave us more legs than Reece James. He was going on the overlap. There wasn't as much cohesion with him and Noni. Obviously they ain't played together a lot. And lack of quality in the final third from Spence. But he was decent defensively. I do not blame him for the goal. Do not blame him for the goal. I blame the centre-backs for that. And Noni should have got back in for that also. So I don't blame him for the goal. Decent defensively. And let's have it right. The left winger, the player that Spence was up against, yeah, was the biggest attacking threat for Congo. He was jinky. That guy was jinky. That whoever was playing on Spence's side for Congo, he was jinky. He was a player. So yeah, I give him a 4. Konsa, I give him a 4 as well. Was at fault for the goal. Just communication, man, positionally as well. Once he saw that Gay was going too far over to the left, instead of following to keep the distances which you're supposed to have between two centre-backs, you don't ever want a big gap between the two centre-backs. But instead of following, he should have communicated to Gay that he's going too far over and just reined him in a little bit, positionally. Because then what happened is they overcompensated to the left side of the pitch, which left a big gap on Spence's side, the right side. So now Spencer's got to cover the space so that the gap between him and the centre-back Konsa isn't too far. But then he's also, once that ball's played over, he's also now got to cover a big distance to get back at the attacker, which he didn't do in time. So yeah, Konsa, he gets a 4 for me. Gay gets a 4 for the exact same reasons. Even worse, I feel like Gay triggered the initial movement, which made the centre-backs be out of position. So yeah, Gay gets a 4. O'Reilly, I gave him a 5. He was steady without being very effective as he normally is in the build-up. But one thing I give him credit for is he was box crashing. Like, he showed a lot of energy, he's got the legs to box crash and also get back into his position at left back. Because what happens is when Kane drops in, gets the ball to feet and pings the ball out wide to the wingers, they then get down the line, get across in the box. More often than not, Harry Kane can't catch up to get in the box. So sometimes they have to delay if there's no one in the box. But what O'Reilly was doing was box crashing. So even if Kane wasn't in there, the wingers had a target to hit. They had O'Reilly or they had Jude. Sometimes both of them, sometimes all three of them when Kane can keep up. So he did offer that threat. However, he didn't get on the end of anything. And like I said, he didn't have any major defensive contributions. He didn't have any major contributions in the build-up or in the attacking phase of play. So yeah, I gave him a 5. Anderson, I gave him a 5 as well. Anderson, I normally expect him to be a bit more dominant, a bit more to dictate the tempo more, to control the game. That these are the things that we expect off of Anderson. But he didn't really give that. He allowed the game to just, he allowed the game to just play out, so to speak. And one thing I do like about Anderson, though, is his communication. He is constantly communicating, constantly coaching. Sometimes when Rashford was coming in too narrow, he was letting him know, get out wide. He was keeping that shape of the team how it's supposed to be. He doesn't allow players to kind of throw their weight around, so to speak. Like, it doesn't matter the name. It could be Jude dropping too deep. He would tell him, like, jog on, like, push up the pitch. So I always like that from Anderson. It shows character, especially, what's Anderson, 23, 24 years old. He's very young in the senior international game, experience-wise, you know what I mean? So to come in your first major tournament and to have that character, that bit about you, to have that authority is brilliant. But now we need to see that authority through your football as well, not just through your communication. Do you know what I mean? So I gave him a 5. Rice, I give him a 5 as well. Would have been a 4, but I gave him a 5 basically for his performance at right back. After 70 minutes when he moved to right back, I think he was excellent. Albeit it was after 70 minutes. So at that point, Congo was hanging on a little bit. There wasn't as much attacking threat. Like, he wasn't facing the attacking threat that Spence was facing. Do you know what I mean? So, but he did look solid there. It was a good link up between him and his Arsenal club mates, Saka and Eze, on that right-hand side. It looked decent. And when he had time and space, that quality that we needed from Spence, delivery-wise, Rice had that quality, whipping in some good crosses. So, yeah, I give him a 5. Jude, I give him a 7. He was the only threat in the first half. Could have had a couple of goals if it weren't for the goalkeeper. Also, if you remember rightly, when Kane went through on goal one-on-one, rounded the keeper, took a little dive for the penalty, that was the pass from Jude was excellent. The weight of the pass. You have to remember, Kane isn't quicker than the two Congo defenders. He isn't quicker, especially in a foot race. Like, we're talking over like 15, 20 meters. Do you know what I mean? So to play a ball in behind those centre-backs, it has to be weighted perfectly. It has to be, can't be too far ahead of him to allow the centre-backs to get back and intercept. But it also has to be far ahead of him enough for him to run onto it without it being intercepted. So that was a beautiful ball pass from Jude. It was similar to the pass that Jude played to Kane against... Who was it against when Kane was through one-on-one and he smashed it straight at the keeper? I want to say Panama, but I'm not 100%. Let me know in the comments if you remember. But it's similar. It was the same pass that Jude played to Kane in the other game as well. Same pass for this one. You see, yeah, first half, he was our only threat. Second half, it wasn't as much of a threat, but he was involved in the second goal. He continuously made those runs in behind. And if you remember rightly, for the second goal, he made a run in behind, charged through on goal, had a shot with his left foot, it deflected out to Gordon, who then played it to Kane, who finished it off. So yeah, he was involved in everything as usual. I gave him a 7. Noni, I gave him a 5. Now, I would have given Noni a 6, but he kind of just switched off as he does defensively. So once you see your right back tuck in alongside his centre-backs, you as a right winger now have to drop. You have to drop. Do you know what I mean? Because now your right back is essentially operating as a centre-back. You have to then drop, and at least, even if you ain't in line with your right back, you have to be close enough to the attacking player of the opposition, just in case that ball gets played over your right back's head. And he wasn't. He was still up the pitch as if we was in possession of the ball, which then, as we know, ended up in a goal. So this is why I gave him a 5. This is why I marked him down from a 6 to a 5. Apart from that, I feel like along with Jude, he was one of our main attacking threats in the first half especially. He was definitely our best winger until Gordon came on. He was running at his fullback, always trying to take him on, even if he didn't get the better of him. The next time he got the ball, more often than not, he was having a go again and having a go again. And his crossing weren't too bad. He was cutting in on his left foot and whipping in some decent crosses. A couple of times he went down the line, hit bar line, cut across his fullback. We got a chance off of that one. I think Rashford, yeah, Wan-Bissaka off the line from Rashford's shot. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. Noni and Spence do get scapegoated for a lot of criticism, unnecessarily for me. I see Anderson, I see Rice have like me. I call it like nothing games where like they just don't affect things. And I think maybe because they don't affect things, they just go fly under the radar. It goes unnoticed. But players like Anderson, who just got bought for 160 million, Declan Rice, who people are talking about Ballon d'Or, you're never supposed to just... You going under the radar is effectively you having a bad game, especially in the middle of the park. So yeah, Noni, I think he had a good game. But yeah, I had to mark him down due to the defensive lapse. Going on to Rashi on the other side, on the left wing, it's poor from Rashi. It was poor. It was poor. This is the Rashi that this is the Rashi that was at United recently in his last year at United, where normally you have a go at the fullback, yeah. If he gets no joy, that's it. He's coming feet for the rest of the game, doing the playmaker, winger playmaker stuff like he's Ronaldinho. This time he didn't even try. He saw Wan-Bissaka. He knows Wan-Bissaka from United, obviously. And let's have it right. Wan-Bissaka is possibly the best one-on-one defender in the world. But you have to have a goal. You have to have a goal. Like, you will not score if you don't shoot. So as a winger, you will never take on your fullback if you don't attempt to take on your fullback. You have to have a goal. The only time we saw Rashford have a goal was when Wan-Bissaka was caught up the other side of the pitch, and he'd have a go at is it Mbemba, the centre back that was coming over to cover Wan-Bissaka. But like, he was just cutting in. A couple of times he got decent crosses in from like deep positions, but to be a left winger and not have a go at your fullback is just criminal to me. Wan-Bissaka came off the pitch, 0 take-ons. Like, Wan-Bissaka's stats. If you check Wan-Bissaka's stats, if you're a left winger and the opposition right back comes off the pitch with stats like Wan-Bissaka's stats, you have not done your job. You've not done your job. And then what made it worse with Rashford, yeah, that left foot. I've said it in previous videos. He has to work on that left foot. If you want to mix it with the big boys and be a top player that you possibly could be, you got to be able to go both ways. You have to. Obviously, you'll have your dominant foot, but your weaker foot has to be of a standard that allows you to be confident enough to go on the other side, to go both ways. Rashford had a chance, left foot, and he hit the side net, and it was nowhere near. It was poor. He had a couple crosses with his left foot. It was, yeah, I'll give him a 3, man. Harry Kane at 8. Not his best game overall, but stepped up when we needed him. Got 2 goals. The second goal especially was beautiful. Beautiful. It reminded me of Alan Shearer, that clean, powerful strike past the keeper before he even could react. Do you know what I mean? The first goal was a bit... After the keeper made all those great saves from Jude, mainly from Jude. I'm exaggerating a bit, all those great saves, but mainly from Jude. He made some brilliant saves from Jude. And his all-round game, he was coming out for crosses, catching it and whatnot, was brilliant. So, yeah, the first Kane goal was a bit, yeah, it was a bit Jordan Pickfordish, you know what I mean? Getting a hand to it, but not strong enough. But yeah, that second goal was beautiful to watch, beautiful. His all-round game wasn't the best, but at the end of the day, this is what I asked from Kane. I've always said we shouldn't be relying on Jude Bellingham when Jude is 22, just turned 23. Jude was possibly not even going to be in the starting lineup until the tournament started. Harry Kane is our talisman. He's the person that people are saying, along with Declan Rice, Ballon d'Or. Do you know what I mean? He's another one, like they say with Jordan Pickford, English greatest goalkeeper. People are saying, listen, England's greatest striker. So you have to come up with those big moments. And today he did. So yeah, hats off to him. Gordon is the only substitute I'm going to speak about. It's the only substitute that I feel affected the game enough. I give him a 7. Set up both goals. Had a goal at Wan-Bissaka. Never had much joy, but he had a goal. Yeah, and he set up 2 goals. So yeah, 7 for Gordon. Possibly a start in the next game. Who knows? But I'll be talking about that in my next video. Peace.